Hi guys, welcome back to another ConnorMoore Vlogs video. Today is a big one, Premier League predictions. 2019-20 season. Who's going to get top 4? Who's going to come mid-table? Who's going to get relegated? Find out in this video. So it's that time again where I have to predict 2019-2020 season in the Premier League. I'm going to put your club in a certain position where I think you'll finish this season from 20th to 1st. If you're enjoying the Premier League predictions, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and comment down below where you think your team will finish this season. If you want to predict the whole league, just do top 3, bottom 3, and yeah, let's get into the video. In 20th position I put Brighton. They've got rid of their manager Chris Hughton, who has been linked to Sheffield Wednesday, and they've brought in Graham Potter as their manager. He knows nothing on the Premier League, and I don't think he's the right man for the job this season. He had a hell of a season at Swansea last year by getting them mid-table, and yeah, as I said, he knows nothing on the Premier League. Brighton have said they've strengthened their squad, but they have lost Anthony Knockaert to Fulham, and yeah, he was a key player for them. They brought in Webster from Bristol and Mapai from Brentford, but I don't think that's enough to keep them up. They spent 60 million, but I don't know where that's gone and what on. I don't think their team is strong enough this season, and I think it's the end for Brighton's journey in the Premier League. So I put Brighton 20th. In 19th place I put Sheffield United. Sorry Blaze fans, but I don't think you'll be staying up this season. You've brought in Ollie McBurney from Swansea for 18 million. He's unproven in the Premier League. You've also brought in Phil Jagielka from Everton. His fitness is gone now and his legs are basically gone as well. I don't think he has much fitness on him anymore, but yeah, I don't think that's going to keep you up as well. You brought in Ravel Morrison from the Serie A last season, and he used to play for West Ham and Man United just before that. He can bring you some valuable points in, and he scored some decent goals for you. You've also got Callum Robinson, Ben Osborne and Luke Freeman. They are all talented players, but they haven't proven themselves in Premier League either. Chris Wilder will get the most out of them players, and like others, Billy Sharp, he is bringing him to be a quality player. And yeah, these players these days are so expensive, so that's why most clubs are buying lower league players. So sorry Blaze fans, but I put you 19th. This last relegation spot was very hard to pick. In 18th place I have put Burnley. Sean Dyche plays counter-out-style football with the players he has been given. He has done this for 2 years and it's worked, but he's also gained qualification for European football. Sean Dyche is a manager that can keep teams up, but this season I don't think he's going to keep Burnley up. It's more unpromising for their transfer window. They've sold Tom Heaton to Aston Villa for 8 million, their best goalkeeper, and they're going to struggle for him, and they don't play very well counter-attacking football. They're about to sell their centre-back to Leicester as well. Trowowski, I think his name is. The teams around them are just outstrengthen their squads than Burnley, but I do not think Burnley will be staying up this season. I'm sorry Burnley fans, but I think you'll be finishing 18th this season. Right, let's look at 17th to 11th places. In 17th position I put Newcastle. Newcastle have done some okay business. They've let Perez, one of their best players, go, and most importantly Rafael Benitez. Steve Bruce isn't a manager that inspires confidence in me. I don't think he will do anything special at Newcastle, but their new signings Joelinton and Maxim, two very interesting signings, could do something special for Newcastle, but ultimately I'm tipping Newcastle just to stay up this season. In 16th place I have put Norwich. In terms of money spent, they have done quite well. Hardly spent anything, but they have signed Farman, the goalkeeper from Schalke, He was a very good addition to the Norwich side. Dermot, another Bundesliga player on a free transfer. I've seen him play quite a lot in the German league and a lot for Switzerland. He's a very good striker, another good addition for Norwich. And Patrick Roberts from Man City. Don't know much about him, but he does look like a decent signing. They won the league and the championship last season, so you would think their team is pretty well in shape. They've kept the likes of Pookie and Max Aarons, two brilliant signings, and Buendera, who's also another good player. So yeah, I'm tipping Norwich just to stay up, and this could go completely wrong, but let's see where Norwich finishes season. I've put Norwich 16th, sorry. In 15th place, I put Southampton. They were close to the drop last season. They avoided it, and this season I think they'll avoid it again. Hasselhüttl, first year in charge for Southampton. I think he'll do a very good job this year. Very interesting to see what Shea Adams can do from Birmingham. And also they've signed Danny Ings on a permanent signing. Not a little bad partnership there up front. A good strike force. I don't think their side is unbelievable, but I think it's just good enough to stay up this season. In 14th place, I've put Aston Villa. You have seen in the video so far, 3 of the new promoted sides. I've only put one of them to go down, and Villa are one of the new promoted sides as well. They have spent a lot of money in this transfer window, and we could be seeing another Fulham. Fulham last season spent £110 million and they went straight down. But this year, I think Villa will stay up. They've spent over £140 million on very good players. One of the players they've brought in is Tyrone Mings, a well-known player for Aston Villa. He'll be fine for settling with the players since he played with them last season in the Championship to get them to the playoff final and won it. They've also signed Wesley for £22 million, another very good Brazilian signing. And also they've brought in Douglas Luiz from Manchester City. This is an interesting signing I'd like to see, and a very hotly tipped youngster. They've brought in other players, a lot of other players from teams around them, like Heaton from Burnley, Target from Southampton, and Trezeguet, an interesting purchase. Business can be too much business. These players might take a long time to gel into the team and work together. But I can see Villa staying up this season. This is a team that should be in the Premier League, and overall I think they'll be fine. They will be okay in this league, I think, and this is where they belong. I've also got Max to say about Aston Villa this season, where he thinks they'll finish and why. Thank you, Max, for being in the video. Much appreciated, and take it away.
Hello everyone, Max here from Villa on Tour. Connor's asked me to talk a little bit about Aston Villa now. I think we signed 13 players in the summer, and I think we had to. We let about 15 go after the playoff final, whether that was we released them because it was the end of their contract or we sold them. So people are moaning that we've signed so many players, but I think we had to sign these players. I think the recruitment's good, whether the players we've signed played with Villa before on loan, or they've got connections within the squad, or they've played with Smith before. I think that's where the strategies come from, unlike Fulham a couple of years ago, because we're getting compared to them. Like, they just signed a load of players. They signed 8 players on deadline day, and that was panic buying. I think we've had a good strategy, and I think we'll come around 13th or 14th this season. I think I'll probably take 17th. I just want to survive, but I think we should be aiming much higher. I think we should be aiming maybe top half, but I think I'd probably just take surviving, and then we can push on and progress in the next few years. So thank you very much for having me on the channel. Subscribe to Villa on Tour if you haven't already, and up the Villa.
This one was a hard one to predict, but this could go completely wrong or completely right. But I have put Crystal Palace in 13th, Roy Hodgson is a manager what can keep sides up, and this season I think he will keep Palace up. They've sold Wan-Bissaka to Man United. They've got a lot of money for him, but he is one of their key defenders and most important one. They sold Batshuayi as well. He came on loan last season and scored a lot of important goals for him. He is gone. But they have luckily kept on Sahar. Loads of teams wanted him, but this is the reason I think Crystal Palace will stay up. They brought in Jordan Ayew and Gary Cahill from Chelsea. Some decent signings there. Jordan Ayew played for them last season, scored around 5 goals for them. And Gary Cahill from Chelsea, he'll bring in a lot of close precision side teams come together and hopefully work well. But this is why I put Crystal Palace 13th. In 12th position, I put Watford. They have done not a lot of business this year, like Brentford usually do. They brought in Craig Dawson from West Brom. He's been relegated before. They brought in Danny Welbeck on a free transfer, and they brought in Bakayoko for 80 million, a person I just don't know about. And yeah, Watford could go either side this season. They could be by relegation or they could come mid-table. But this season I put them mid-table. They've still got good players like Decore and Troy Deeney. And yeah, they've been relegated before, so I don't know. They're a decent team, as I said, and I'm just going to put them somewhere in mid-table 12th. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about Watford. In 11th spot, finally the bottom half of the table, I put Bournemouth. Eddie Howe's a great manager, always keeps Bournemouth safe, and he's a very good manager. I am very confident in Bournemouth this year. They've signed some players, Billing from the relegated side Huddersfield, Kelly from Bristol, and they've only lost Mings, really, who's gone to Villa, and he was not doing much in the side anyway. 11th might be too high for Bournemouth, basing on other performances in different seasons. It could be a good spell or a bad spell, but yeah, I put Bournemouth 11th. They're a decent side. As I said, they've got Eddie Howe, and they still got good players as Callum Wilson and Nathan Ake. I think he still plays for them, but yeah, I put Bournemouth 11th. So now let's look at 10th to 7th position. In 10th place I put Leicester. They've lost Harry Maguire and still haven't replaced him. That's a huge loss. They brought in Tielemans on permanent. I know he's played for them last season. He's very good in the centre mid role. And yeah, they bring in Iosi Perez from Newcastle. They've weakened a rival team who was close to them last season. They haven't replaced Maguire, as I've said. 10th position is a decent spot for Leicester, sorry. And yeah, Brendan Rodgers gets a full season in charge of Leicester. Leicester fans, let me know what you think, where your team will finish this season. And yeah, I'm going with 10th position for Leicester City. I've also got BIRIEX94 to talk about where Leicester will finish this season and why. So take it away, and thank you for also featuring in the video.
Hey everyone, I'm Scott. I support Leicester, as you can probably tell. My prediction for where we are going to finish this season is 8th in the table. Now, this depends on a couple of things, and it's very, very difficult, I think, to compare us, Everton, Wolves, and maybe West Ham for who's going to try and push into the top 6. But I think that we're probably going to go about 8th because unless we change formation, then in the transfer market in the summer, we did well, but we didn't get the right winger, like an out-and-out winger that I feel that we really needed. We did get Iosi Perez, which is a very, very good signing. He can play out on the right, but he's best as like a second striker just off the main striker. We obviously bought Youri Tielemans, which is huge for us. One of the biggest signings that we'll probably ever do in terms of trying to push forward as a club. We signed Dennis Praet, and we signed James Justin as well, obviously with Maguire leaving. Now, I think a lot of people are overstating how important Maguire is to us, which is why I think a lot of people will put their predictions of us further down in the table. But he wasn't that good last season, and so by playing someone like Benkovic or Soyuncu instead in his place, I don't think that it'll be that bad. Now, again, if we play our standard 4-1-4-1 or 4-3-3, whatever you want to call it, then I don't feel we've got the right winger that we needed. However, by signing Dennis Praet and also with what Brendan has done in the past at Liverpool, he's played a 4-1-2-1-2 diamond many times, and we do have the players for that, with Vardy and Perez up front, Maddison just behind, Tielemans and Praet in front of Ndidi. With our Ricky P and Chilwell bombing forward from the wing-backs, it could be really good. So, depending on if we change formation, depends on whether I think our squad is good enough to push even higher. Whereas, I don't want to be too optimistic and think, oh yeah, we'll change formation and everything will work perfectly. So, I'm going to be reasonable and I'm going to put us 8th in the table. I think that we'll probably just get pipped by Everton. I think that they've made decent signings. Potentially Wolves, but they have got, obviously, Europa League, which could massively affect them depending on how seriously they take it. But 8th in the table is where I place Leicester this season.
In ninth place I've put West Ham. West Ham usually finish around this place in the Premier League. Fortenez, the winger, under 21s, he's done amazing in the Euros. And I think he'll have an amazing season at West Ham. Pele, the French striker, he looks very good. He's very good, I would say. A good replacement for Arnautovic, who was West Ham's top goal scorer for a couple of years. They've got rid of some of the wages of the centre-back, the Italian centre-back. Andy Carroll, who's moved to Newcastle. Nasri, Adrian is Liverpool's second choice keeper. And yeah, Lanzini's back from injury. That could be a very good game changer. Also, they've got Declan Rice and Jack Wilshere in midfield, good English partnership. And yeah, they're looking very good. Unfortunately, they've sold Arnautovic to the Chinese league. He was a very key player for them, but they have replaced him with a Haller guy. And yeah, I can see West Ham doing well this season. I put West Ham 9th. In 8th position, I put Wolverhampton. They got a consistent in their squad. They've signed Jimenez and Dendoncker on a permanent. They've signed Patrick Contral from AC Milan, a very exciting striker. I can see him scoring a lot of goals for Wolves this season. And one bad thing, they're still in European football this year. This could hurt them very badly. And a lot of teams struggle when they're in European football. They have a very good side. They still have Patricio in goal, who's a very good keeper. They've got a decent defence. Midfield, I think they still got Ruben Neves, who's a flipping hell of a centre mid and scores a lot of goals for them. And yeah, I can see Wolves doing decent. If they do finish 8th, they could slide down the table with European football if they get any injuries and that. But I'm going to back Wolves and put them 8th. In 7th position, this is very hard to predict, and I've put Everton. This is tricky with Wolves. Moise Keane, really good addition up front. Very young, can bag a lot of goals for Everton. They need the striker. Torsson wasn't really fitting into the side, and they've done well. They were still in key touch with Zaha, but they didn't sign him in the end. They signed Fabian Delph as well. He wasn't in the Man City side that much. He had a couple of games there, but Shevchenko's definitely got his spot in left back. And yeah, he was not really in the level of Man City style, I would say. They've also signed Lossell from Huddersfield, Gabian, this guy called Gabiani as well. They've got rid of Lookman, who was very young, decent player, not really playing that much for Everton. Also got rid of Jagielka. Also, they've lost a very key player in Idrissa Gana Gueye. He's going to PSG. That's going to be a very big miss. And yeah, they're going to have to try and fit someone in that midfield role because he is very good for them. Everton usually do very good business, and this time I think they're going to finish 7th this season, just about to beat Wolves in the position. So that's why I put Everton 7th. In 6th position, I've put Frank Lampard's Chelsea side. They need to give Frank Lampard a chance and give him a bit more time. He's a legend, isn't he, in the club. He's a club legend, and Frank Lampard believes in the youth side. He brought Mason Mount with him, and I think they were linked to Tomori as well. But Frank Lampard brought Mason Mount, as I said, from Derby, and yeah. And he can also see what Tammy Abraham could do as well. I can see him playing up front this season, and he can see what he done from Aston Villa. He scored around 23 goals last season as well for Aston Villa, or maybe a bit more, but he done alright. Tammy Abraham. They brag in the youth from the English players as well. Hudson-Odoi still could play. Mason Mount, as I've said. Brag in players that we might have never seen before, as Batshuayi and Bakayoko. They brag in Pulisic just before the transfer ban, and Kovacic. They've lost Hazard, one of the biggest players in the club for them, and he's moved to Real Madrid. We'll be seeing Hudson-Odoi play more. They've sold Higuain and Morata as well. They're both gone, so that means we'll be seeing more of Giroud, Tammy Abraham, and yeah. And they're also in the Champions League, so we could be seeing them dropping places as well. So I don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea, but I put them 6th position. Let's move on.
Hi YouTube, I'm here to share my thoughts on where I think Chelsea's going to finish. But before I say that, I just want to say thank you for ConnorMoore Vlogs for letting me share my predictions. So I think Chelsea's going to finish 5th this season due to the fact that we have a transfer embargo or a transfer ban put on our, for this upcoming season, and we're also, our squad isn't going to be as strong because we've lost the likes of Eden Hazard, which, was so important to us. But I think Frank's going to be doing a good job with utilising the youth, making them better, improving them as players, and yeah. But thank you for letting me share my thoughts.
Missing out on the top 4 this season, I have put Arsenal. Pepe is a really good signing for Monaco. I think they signed him for around £68 million. That's going to be a very good addition up front. They've also signed Ceballos from Real Madrid on loan, a very good centre mid to come in and work in the midfield role. They've lost Koscielny, Ramsey and Mustafi want to go. They've brought in Kieran Tierney and David Luiz to help the defence out. And yeah, they really need to sort out this defence. It's not good at Arsenal. They've fascinated by the attack I am. They've got Lacazette, Pepe, Aubameyang, Ozil, Iwobi's getting better every week. Are they going to give Reece Nelson a go? Who knows? Yeah, so Arsenal have a decent side. They need to build on their defence and the half of their midfield. I don't think it's good enough for them to get top 4 yet. And yeah, they could get it. I was struggling for the team 4th and 5th, but you'll see who I put 4th now, so let's get into the top 4. In the top 4, in 4th, I've put Manchester United. This was a hard one with Man United and Arsenal, but United have done a lot of business. Not as much as I thought they would do, but Man United have done some business. They've lost Lukaku to Inter Milan, they've lost Herrera to PSG and Valencia's left. They've bought in Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. Maguire's a hell of a defender, and they've done well to bring him in from Leicester, and Wan-Bissaka from Crystal Palace, who was Crystal Palace's most well-used fullback. Man United's defence is looking better, younger, and more English, to be honest. I know most of their defenders are English now, and yeah, it's looking alright. They've also brought in Daniel James, who's played for Swansea, a quick Welsh winger. They purchased him in the summer as a left winger, very rapid, and he can run down the wings. That means they might push Martial or Rashford into the centre role. After losing Lukaku, who will play up front, who knows? Pogba's staying. They were linked to Eriksen, but he didn't want to move. And yeah, I can see Man United finishing 4th this season. Let me know where you think they'll finish. In 3rd, I've put Spurs. They finished 4th last season, and hopefully they're going to get 3rd this season. I've liked the business they've done this season. They signed Ndombele from Lyon, and they've also signed Lo Casello from Real Betis. Trippier and Llorente have gone. Trippier's gone to Atletico Madrid, and Llorente's gone. I don't know where he's gone to. They've kept Eriksen, who was going to go to leave to Man United. So that was well held on to for Tottenham. And they done well last year in the Champions League. They were doing brilliant for the whole way through it. And yeah, they're a very good side, Tottenham. I can see them finishing 3rd. They've also kept Kane, but this season I would love to see them finishing 3rd and pushing for the 2nd. It's going to be very close. And yeah, I can see Spurs finishing 3rd. Now we get into the top 2. Now it's who I think will finish it now. The big one. Who do I think will finish in the top 2? There's only 2 teams left, Manchester City and Liverpool. Liverpool have been very lucky not to have any injuries on their top front 3 strikers. Mo Salah, Firmino and Mane. I'm surprised how they haven't had a big injury on them. They've got Origi, who stepped up in the Champions League final and the semi-final. Their defence isn't the best for the couple of years ago, but they've very well improved it. They've got Andy Robertson, Van Dijk, Joe Gomez. Their defence is brilliant now. We've got to give it to them. So over the years they've had good defence, as I said. The midfield, they need to improve on that. Naby Keita, Fabinho is a very good defensive midfielder, but I don't think they've improved that much in their midfield. They've signed that centre back from Holland, Van de Beek, I think his name was, or something like that. And yeah, he's a decent signing, but he's very young, so I don't know if he'll get into the side. They've lost Moreno and Ings, who didn't really play for them anyway. And Moreno's gone to Barcelona and Ings has gone back to Southampton on a permanent deal. And Liverpool's done no business really, so I think they're going to struggle. And they've got Champions League football again this year, what's going to help, struggle for the side. But yeah, I put Liverpool 2nd. Now we move on to the champions of the Premier League this season. I'm going to go for Manchester City. They've won it 3 times in a row, I think, this year. They'll be doing it. And they say Rodri from Real Madrid, not Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, a good centre mid. They need a centre mid since this is Silva's last season. They've sold Delph to Everton, as I said earlier. Shevchenko's made his spot in the left back. They've also signed Joe Cancelo. What a signing, the right back. That's going to give Kyle Walker some competition. Who's going to get to the side and right back? He can also play right mid as well, Joe Cancelo. And yeah, that means if they bring in Rodri, that means Fernandinho could pull centre back and play in defence since Company is left. And yeah, I can just see Man City winning it for the 3rd time in a row. So I'm going with Manchester City to win the league this season for the 3rd time running. Not only Huddersfield, another team who's won it 3 times in a row in the English top flight. And yeah, I put my money on Manchester City to win the league again. There's my predictions, guys. 20th to 1st. I know most of you will disagree with my predictions, but let me know in the comments down below why and where you think your team will finish. I'd love to hear from all of you. Let me know in the comments down below as well your top 4, bottom 3, mid-table as well. Who do you think get European? I want to hear from you as well from that. And don't forget to drop a like on the video if you're excited for the new Premier League season to start. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video.